vi er nu på gadget nummer 3, som jo er Object Matrix. Kan du ikke lige helt kort?
Ganske kort. Object Matrix laver software og hardware, som er object-baseret storage, som er sikkert og skalerbart og intelligent.
Sikkert skalerbart.
Som naturligvis også integrerer med evigt og alle mulige andre.
Cool. Okay, and Peter?
Hi.
Peter, can you hear us? Yes. Okay. Peter, I will put on the first slide for you, and you should be able to see it here. So please take it along, and you just tell me when to go to the next slide, and then I will do that. Okay?
Sure, not a problem. So firstly, hi everybody. Apologies for any delay. I'm calling from a conference in Venice. Actually, the World Archive conference in Venice. So I thought I'd just jump in to give you a little bit of information about Object Matrix, who we are, and what we do. So firstly, welcome to Venice. So a bit of a quick introduction. So Object Matrix, we've been around since 2003, based in the UK, and we are an object storage company. One thing that is key for us is that we only focus on media. So sorry, just skipping back to the previous slide. So we only focus on media. That's what we do. And so this slide, I mean, basically, when it comes to archive, the terrible history of storage is very apparent. So what's very clear is the importance of our archive, whether it's news, whether it's sports, whether it's drama, whether it's feature films. The importance and heritage of our content is incredibly high. However, over the history, have we preserved our content in the right way? And the answer to that is simply no. So dating back from caveman times all the way to where we are now, things have evolved considerably. And so from the left-hand side, the caveman writings on the wall to acetate. Acetate still being a good way of preserving content, but is it the right way to preserve and future-proof our content? The answer is no. LTO certainly isn't. And so for an archives perspective, it's all about security, having a modern platform and having a way of preserving content that actually in the future, in 50 and 100 years' time, will still have future-proof access to that content so we can preserve our heritage. And of course, that's evolving to cloud now. And so everything we do revolves around cloud. And of course, cloud, as we know, is based on object storage. So where we come in is it's basically transforming historic archives and legacy platforms, modernizing those platforms to enable us to preserve our content. So what we do at Object Matrix is we have a hybrid model for cloud adoption. So basically an traditional on-premise storage solution that is disk-based, but it's object storage, so it's super secure, replacing legacy platforms and protecting your business for the future. And how we do that is by flexibility, really. I've just realized that flexible is spelled wrong. But we're flexible in the way we deploy, flexible for public cloud use in our commercial offerings, and flexible for the future. So before I get into anything deeper, Object Matrix, our product is MatrixStore, and we're a software company. So our object storage platform is driven by software intelligence without the need to worry about hardware. We sit on standard Supermicro hardware or any hardware that's qualifiable by yourselves. So moving on to the next slide. This is a bold statement, but we are the best on-premise object storage platform in the market. And I'm very, very strong on this point because there's nothing else that offers the quality that we do. And just skipping through a few slides now onto the next one. So again, we are the best object storage product on the market, not only because we're the most secure. Security is a key thing for us. When we first, skipping back, when we first became known, we've been used by investment banks for a long period of time because of our security and our heightened security, our compliance. Of course, object storage is very secure anyway, but the way that we protect content. Our security is a big thing. We've never been hacked by any organization. We've been used by the biggest broadcasters globally since 2003. And during extreme problems, we've never lost any content. So we are the most secure platform. AWS would always state the opposite, but I can categorically say that we're on-premise and we are the most secure object storage platform. Moving on. So not only because we're the most secure, not only because we're the most performant. So we don't base our platform on erasure coding. So we don't take a file and split it up and put it in various locations. What we do is make copies. So that's copies locally, i.e. in one cluster, as you're looking at here, we make copies. So it's fully protected there. And for redundancy, disaster recovery, we make further copies, i.e. replication. So we're very performant because we're not having to pull back various bits of files from various locations. So not only because we're the most performant, and also not only, moving on to the next slide, sorry. Not only because we have built our own tools. So unlike other object storage platforms, you rely on your own scripts. So with any other platforms, you'd have to build your own tools to access your content. What we do is we offer you standard file system interfaces, including Samba, NFS, but we've also built our own file system interfaces, as well as our own mini-MAM applications and a bunch of other tools that enables us to integrate tightly with Avid, let's say, as a nearline, with AWS as a deep archive. And so we're very much a nearline and archive we can be utilized in a variety of ways, but we've got our own tools to manage our platform solely. So moving on.
Yeah.
Pete, just a really quick question. When we look at this this slide of all of your reference, etc., people may think that how scalable is this? How small and how big do we go?
Okay, absolutely good question. So quite simply, to answer that, as small and as large as you want. So our systems can come in. Our systems come in a 3-node cluster, and that's 3 2U nodes. The smallest configuration would be 60 terabytes usable, that can scale up to multiple petabytes. So we're used by the biggest broadcasters in huge petabyte deployments, on-prem, off-prem, disaster recovery. So it's completely scalable. The point in object storage is it's a single bucket of storage that you add a node, or you add more capacity, and it just becomes part of that single volume, and it just grows. So whether it's a nearline, a tier 2, whether it's an archive, whether it's a backup for Avid, whatever it might be, it's a scalable system that can scale to infinity, if you want to use a terminology. But yeah, it scales as much as you want.
Okay, so we got to the slide.
Please.
Yes.
So sorry, back to the previous one.
Yes, we do. Oh, there it is. If that's the one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So the reason why, the main reason why we are the best object storage on-premise platform in the market is because we only focus on the media industry. This is our world. Since 2003, this is all we've done. We live and breathe the media world. Our customers are broadcast, production, and post-production facilities that need not only to store content, but to access it, to have the ability to preserve that content, to know it's secure and safe, but also the ability to access, collaborate globally, and to reuse and distribute that content. And that's what we do. Our customers are global. Our support is local, i.e. we don't outsource anything. We're a UK-based, we're Cardiff-based company. All of our support and expertise is in-house and driven from that in-house. And our research and development is based on the requirements from you guys, so from our customers. And that's how we've developed our product to where we are now. Next slide. So our product is MatrixStore. We offer one product, that's it. But what it is a scalable object storage platform. Scalable, as we said earlier. It can be deployed on-premise, off-premise, in a data center, in our data center as a managed service. And we have flexible commercial models. We appreciate that you guys don't all have huge amounts of CapEx to go out and buy something. So we take that issue away. We can sell you something as an appliance, or we can offer a subscription model for that. We're a software company, so we don't need to rely on hardware. If you can source that locally, then that's absolutely great. We integrate to a bunch of platforms. Because we're media focused, we integrate to most MAMs, transcode, deep archive, you name it. We work very closely with Avid. We have a tight integration, and I should say that everything is driven through our API. So we have API integration to a bunch of people, but also file system interfaces as well, and integrations via that. our own source. We're completely multi-tenancy, so we can very much be utilized as a private cloud regardless of how we're deployed. We are the most secure in the market, and if it's future-proofing your content, regardless of how, that's what we do. As a nearline, as an archive, we've got disaster recovery built in. It's completely a future-proof solution. So next slide. So deployment, as I said, generically on-prem as an appliance or a software-only install, but then we replicate to our managed service, whether that's off-site at another location for disaster recovery, but also public cloud, whether that's Amazon, Azure. We work very closely with AWS as a certified gold partner, and we work very closely as the hybrid model to public cloud. If you want to store stuff in the public cloud, then ultimately you use MatrixStore to push that to AWS, and then you can collaborate globally. So it's all about joining up a global community. Next slide.
Yeah, this is the last slide.
Oh, okay. So, I thought there was more.
Pete, no. Just a quick question, Pete. When you talk about future-proofing, it's always really dangerous word to use, but you have a built-in, quite intelligent way of adding nodes and taking out old nodes.
Completely. So we can talk about future-proof in many ways, but we'll talk about a couple of examples of hardware. So in scale, an example would be British Telecom in the UK, who at one point had about 50 nodes of various different ages of hardware and size, capacity. And so all they deemed when that was end of life, they added more nodes, more capacity, and they decommissioned the old ones. And it's a constant migration path. Because we're software, we're very agnostic, so we're not tied, we're not proprietary, we're completely agnostic and completely free of any ties to any third-party platforms. So if your editing platform should change or your MAM should change, that doesn't matter to us. And as far as formats go, I mean, that's always going to be a problem in the industry, full stop. But we work with the likes of the DPP, the IABM, to help to standardize things. So we have what we call process in place to extract embedded metadata from our system to make it searchable, and that includes IMF. So we work closely with IMF to try and standardize and to protect that content. So if someone was to go on and delete something that's part of a CPL, then actually it would flag up in our system and it wouldn't be deleted. So our development is based on industry requirements and based on feedback, and because we're software driven, then we don't care about formats. We try and protect that.
Okay.
I should ask one. I should say one more thing about that as well. That because we're an object storage platform, we're fully automated. We're completely agnostic and standalone. Whether it's as a nearline to Avid, whether it's as a full archive, or whether it's a disaster recovery or backup, we are a completely managed free platform. So the reason we call ourselves a public cloud is because you can install us in your data center, in your rack. It doesn't matter. You configure the system as you want. It's as secure as this can be, and you don't have people to manage it. So when it comes down to efficiencies and I guess automation, but also then just trying to introduce efficiencies and cost savings, but also generating revenue. That's what we do best. You can free up the people that manage your archive currently to do what they do best, what they need to do for your organization, and let your archive run itself.
Okay,
thank you,
Peter. It was amazing, and thank you very much for introducing us to your system and your product.
Venice.
From Venice, and I know that you have a dinner to attend in a couple of minutes. We can hear the noise in the background with all the plates and so on.
There's a speech going on upstairs right now.
Okay.
And it's about you, but okay.
We would love to have you here in the studio, but we have to do the second best. So thank you very much, Peter, for joining us here tonight on the show, and we hope to see you another time.
Thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Okay, have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye.